Welcome to the Collingwood Rant. I am Sly.
And I am, there's just a little bit of egg on my face, Spook.
And this is the episode following our nail-biting win over the West Coast Eagles.
I bit all my nails.
Just before we go into the match, a couple of selection things we didn't expect.
You did say erection?
Yes. Schererberg, admitted or dropped?
Managed.
Or arrested, or
managed.
whatever they want to
Managed,
call it.
I would say. Managed.
Yep. And pretty much BAG in the VFL. Dacos dropped. Did you expect that?
Surprised.
And Josh Thomas out.
Good.
In Greenwood.
Yeah, happy.
In Crocker. And in the difference, Johnny Noble.
I think that was the difference at the end of the day.
We did predict that. Alright, so what do you think of the game with these changes?
I loved it. I actually thought the first quarter was really entertaining to watch. Free running, high scoring. Imagine if the AFL adopted that type of game instead of the crap that they're churning out at the moment. Yeah. It got to the point where when they started to kick away at the start of the third quarter, I thought, it's only a matter of time now. We'll wave the flag. And then, kapow!
Is kapow the sound they made when they slipped on the anti-dew?
The fucking anti-Jew. What a crock of shit that is. I spoke a little bit about that in the messenger with you, and I'm not big on conspiracy theories, but here's mine. Do you think fucking West Coast knew the anti-Jew was on there and they had the antidote on their feet? Because we were slipping over like 3-year-olds in an ice skating rink, and I reckon they fell over once.
Yeah, I think it was when Kerry pointed out that Pendle slipped, and this is a guy that virtually never ever slips.
Anti-Jew.
Yeah. Cricket counties in England have been doing it for ages, preparing pitches, and cricket countries have been doing it, preparing pitches to suit their bowlers.
So let me get it right. You spray a liquid on a surface to remove a liquid.
Yeah. Alright, so looking at the actual game after we get all the slipping out.
Conspiracy.
Yeah, there's always conspiracies against Collingwood. First quarter was free-flowing. Second quarter, it felt like we were just holding on.
Mm-hmm.
Third quarter, they started well, and you had that feeling they're going to pull away.
Yeah, when they got to 3 goals up, I thought that's probably one more will break us.
Yeah, and, I was a little bit wary that it was just going to be one of these 3-4 goal games. They'd get the 3 or 4 in front, we'd get down to 11 points, they'd go back up and shit like that. But then we put our foot down, and we totally obliterated their midfield, their much vaunted midfield, their premiership midfield. Their gaffy midfield. By the way, to fucking Cameron Ling, geez, what a side West Coast are winning a flag without Brad Shepherd, Andrew Gaff, and Nick Nat. I mean, it's not like Collingwood were missing any players last year either, were they? You fuckwit.
Serial Collingwood hater.
Yeah, so we really put the foot down. Buckley moved Crisp onto Shuey, I think it was. Nick Nat had been giving Grundy a lesson early. Grundy got on top of that. Nick Nat was being managed.
Yep.
And
Oscar Elliott went up to Oscar Allen, but that may have happened a little bit
That was
early,
when Moore got
Yeah,
injured.
yeah.
What a shock that Moore got injured. But we really just started to dominate around all the clinches. We started to move forward. Probably the one issue was we're still a bit reliant on the chaos ball. Not a bit, actually. We're totally reliant on the chaos ball kicking forward. Coxie and Mycheck looked a lot better once we got the ball in there quick.
How good is he, though?
Well, we've been, singing his praises for how long?
No, we're wrong, though. We're just a couple of idiots on YouTube and podcasts. Subscribe if you like us.
Well, the Cox one's really interesting because I saw an article Wayne Carey said, if people are expecting him to reproduce his preliminary final form, they're crazy. That's not going to happen. It's like...
Well, we had Cameron Ling lecturing us on the insanity thing about if you repeat something often enough or some rubbish.
Yeah.
Because that's what I tune into the football for, a dickhead talking shit.
But I mean, the Carey thing, if you look at the prelim...
Allegedly.
Yeah. If you look at the prelim, Cox isn't taking marks in packs of 12. He's leading and they're dropping it in front of him. It was just really good use. And they did that in the first half a little bit. They let him lead into it. And a few times they isolated him one-off against McGovern and he outmarked him. But previously we've just been moving the ball so slow, they get flooded. And now Cox looked dangerous. Mycheck looked dangerous. The small forwards probably didn't do as much still. They tried. But as that last quarter went on, we eclipsed them. They were nowhere near us. We probably should have won by more than 1 point. We just kept going forward. And then the commentators were saying,
Yeah, we're looking. What did we kick? 3-6 or something? 3-9 or something.
Yeah, in the second half.
Yeah, that's the inaccuracy, and a lot of it wasn't gross inaccuracy. It's one of those really funny games where the ball drop just wasn't going our way.
But some of that was because the chaos ball. Though.
Yeah, well, it was like the Mia had that snap hits the post. All these things that potentially would have just given us a little bit of justification, not justification, but validation for with the fact that we were dominating, but just not converting onto the scoreboard. It was just frustrating to watch at that point, thinking you're doing all the hard work, and you just think any second now it's going to go up the other end and they'll score, and it just done that. But fortunately, we clamped down and held on.
Well, from the point we started dominating, we were plus 24 in contested possessions, plus 16 in ground ball gets, plus 18 in inside 50s, 28-10, plus 17 in forward half intercepts, and we kicked 2-8 to 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
So we really dominated them. We just weren't reflecting it in the scoreboard. I think that's a bit of the chaos. A lot of kudos to the goalie, thrown in the middle, and this is the thing we've been fucking going on about for the whole year. He's on the move. He grabs the ball, he's already on the move.
He's a playmaker.
Not let's just stand here under it and wait for it to come. And even when you're standing there under it, it's like, well, you're probably going to get tackled or intercepted or whatever. The goalie, to me, was very reminiscent of Cripps. He was just on the move, got the ball, he did his little turning arcs, he propelled it forward and all that shit, and he's got the bulk and the speed to be pretty much unstoppable once he's moving.
See, the thing is, you keep hearing about he doesn't have the tank yet to run in the midfield. You surely think after all the years in the system that he must be getting damn close, so that's not the case. I'd be seeing, well, you probably, our hand may well be forced now, but he surely has to spend more extended periods now in the guts.
Oh, he has to because of with Pendlebury's injury, we'll talk about later.
Yep.
I can't believe he doesn't have the tank. The only thing I can think of is because that shin issue that he's being managed. Yeah. That's the only thing.
Didn't seem to hamper him at all Friday night.
Well, you don't know how he's pulled up, if he's sore for the next, or if there's a collective thing that's happening that when he plays a lot more time. I recall when they brought the rotation in, Dane Swan said, not the rotation, sorry, the sub. Dane Swan said it took like an extra day for the players to recover just because they had that one less player to rotate through the bench.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't know that, collectively they're saying, well, the goalie's played 3 hours of midfield time in the last 3 games and now he's really sore. So I don't know, but he's got to play midfield for me. He's obviously a great forward, but midfield, he could be an elite, dominant midfielder. And it's one of these things of like, well, what do you get more out of? Do you get more out of him up forward when the ball's not going down there or delivering it like shit? Or do you get more out of him getting the ball and delivering it forward to players of half his ability? So I'd rather he was there to just keep delivering the ball. And as we saw, he could still kick goals.
I was about to say, he still has the capacity to sneak forward every now and then and dob one.
Yep. Myercheck, we've been singing these praises for how long, and he was brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
And this is against the reigning premier, I hear.
I wish it was us. He scored 20 full. No. As in the coaches' votes, he got the
got a full 10 from each. Yep.
Yeah, so people are standing up and listening.
Oh, that prescription that people have are like key position's got to be this height. He's a little bit too short. He's a little bit too rangy or whatever. It's like he's getting the job done. So he's up to 24 goals now. I think it is. He took a number of contested marks. He took a number of important ones. He kicked truly. I mean, we were lamenting last week that his accuracy has gone massively downhill. He was accurate with a lot of pressure kicks. That one to get us back within a goal and a bit.
Well, he had 4 set shots, which you all converted, and that
he had an intercept, which
was that snap.
Yeah. Which he drilled from, or tried to
drill
from
50. It was pretty damn close there for a
while. Huskin Elliott, good effort going to centre half back, given
excuse me,
he's not a centre half back.
No, I think it took him a little while to adapt. Though I thought Oscar Allen had the better of him. He was always constantly being led to the ball.
Yeah.
But eventually it clicked for him, and I think the last quarter he really got dominance over Oscar Allen, and he sort of won the not won, but I think they broke even probably.
I think
when it mattered, he stood up.
But
he took some telling contested marks.
That was the thing. Once we started running, you started getting players like Sidebottom was no one who really got into the last quarter.
Oh, so you love him now?
I've always loved Sidebottom in the good side. But there was a number of guys, like Treloar was, again, pretty good. He's getting numbers, but that's not the Treloar we probably want to see. We want to see an outside midfielder who's going to run hard and break lines.
Mm-hmm.
Maynard is good. He got swapped onto Darling. is probably not the sort of player he's usually play on. Really pushed him. I mean, even that last mark Darling took, Maynard pushed him back. If you look at where Darling marks it and where Maynard got him to, I reckon Maynard's gained about 3 metres by just pushing him, manoeuvring him toward the fence. So there was a number of players who did really well. Sire...
What about Aishi's game, though?
Played a really hard game, Aishi.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought he'd probably broken his collarbone when he fell on his shoulder.
Down for the jab, the old magic serum.
I'm sure we'll find out that he's had to have his arm amputated or something now.
Yeah, that's all right. He's got another one.
Who did I just mention there?
I think he finished.
Sire.
Ah, yes. Yeah, he started working his way back into it, I think.
And Callum Brown?
Still, he cameos through games, really. Like, as you pointed out, he had that great smother that resulted in the goey snap. He sort of has his moments. I don't know. He's probably one that could easily be dropped, but at the same time,
Who'd you bring in now?
That's the thing. He can comfortably stay at the same time. I think he has his dangerous moments are good, but he disappears too much in between them.
Yeah. In the end, do you think? All right, so we've beaten the reigning premiers.
Oh, that flag's ours.
Yep.
Just come back here in 2 months' time.
After, I don't know, 6 weeks of deteriorating form and the last 2 weeks...
I've forgotten all about that. It's been erased.
Right, so was our effort system-based or was it effort-based?
I think it was definitely effort-based.
Yeah,
I think the system once more went down and things got shaken up a little bit. It sort of reminds you about some of those back-to-the-wall wins that we had last year when... we're up against it. Certainly, I think they travel well. They consolidate well when they're interstate. They probably sleep in the same room and that sort of thing. Maybe that helps them out. I've no idea what that means, but I just thought I'd try it. But obviously, being away from the pressure environment that was here from the last 2 weeks, especially like people like you that were just incessantly bagging them endlessly, to get away and to regroup, they couldn't have done it in a more emphatic manner.
So I think the really good thing about this game, in terms of the way...
One?
The other really good thing about this game is that, unlike the grand final...
No, I don't like the grand final.
Where we were 5 goals up, and it was like, let's protect what we have. In this game, we were constantly 1-2 and then 3 goals down. So it was like, you cannot save this game, you need to go out and win it.
Mm.
And then even when we got in front, and we got in front from memory with 2 behinds... even when we got in front, they couldn't have relaxed because it's like, okay, we're 1 point up now. Or we're 2 points up and then West Coast got a point. It's like, we're now 1 point up. We cannot save this game. We still need to try and win it. And even though toward about the last minute, side bottom kicked backwards and they did take a bit of time off the clock, they were still playing quite attackingly. They kick long out of the kick out for when Greenwood rushed the Darling shot. Coxie took a really good mark. And then... I think they counter-attacked on the wing and then Maynard marked, dropped in front of Darling. And then Maynard kicked long and Mychek took a really good mark. And it was like they were obviously playing a little bit too defensive structure should they lose the ball, but they were still, we've got to move the ball far. It wasn't this, let's chip around. So actually,
no, it wasn't until Sidey duped half the field to say,
thinking I can have a shot from 75.
I am going to kick it that long. Today's the day,
Yep.
everyone. I've got money. No, you didn't say that.
You can't, no.
Nothing on that one. But it worked well enough that everyone actually fell for it, and it opened up space behind him that he could then chip backwards, and that was smart, I thought.
So anyway, I just think psychologically the context of the game actually helped us. You couldn't say that you had to win it, and then once you were in front, weren't in front by enough to say let's just waste time.
Yeah, I think the other good thing about that too, in the entire 2 minutes, they didn't try and switch the ball either.
No,
they just kept piling it forward. I mean, you went for the boundary, which is good. Like you pointed out when Sidey split the pack there and kicked.
Yeah.
It was almost like a semi-deliberate attempt to get the ball.
You can see he's done like a bit of a
toward
my check in the boundary. So I really think the way the game unfolded brought the best out of us, and that was against the West Coast probably. Two things. One, they're the reigning premier, so if you lose to them, there's no real great shame if you lose to them there. But because of that, you're also taking the pressure off Collingwood to deliver. So it was just like, we've got nothing to fucking lose in this game. And they actually played like that in the second half. And, as I said, if we were a bit more precise going forward, we would have won by about 4 or 5 goals. Or actually, we would have got like 2-3 goals up and then lost. But as it is, we won. And I actually I know everyone, like I got messages from so many people saying, what a win, what a win, what a win. And it's just one win, but as you pointed out, it's the sort of win where you can rebuild your season.
Yeah. I mean, that shot of confidence you get out of that, you just can't buy it.
No.
Yeah, one of my other little favourite moments of that game, was it was about 10 minutes into the third quarter where Brian Taylor pointed out the stat that whenever West Coast hit 75 points ahead of their opposition, they've lost no games this year, and from there on in, they kicked the point.
Can't say that again. Just the final thought, what do you think of John Noble on debut?
I thought he was really quite encouraging. He didn't look lost out there, I didn't think.
If Collingwood's game plan, how would you tell the difference?
Yeah, he got caught a couple of times, but that's fair enough. It's his first game. But he was quite involved in a few passages of play. He seems to be quite cluey, and he dished the ball out quite precisely a couple of times, fluffed a few, but again, that happens. I found it very encouraging. I'd be very, very, very surprised if he's dropped this week.
I shouldn't be dropped, but I'm a little bit worried. He's pretty small, and
Titchy, I think he said he was.
There's a good matchup for him with Cameron, who's young and pretty thin also. I don't know if they're going to be able to get that every week. I'd probably rather see Noble go forward. Final thoughts from me.
Mm-hmm.
Well done to all the viewers who fucking rang up and voted Cameron BOG. Great first half, and then got 4 touches for the rest of the game.
Oh, but what were those 4 touches like?
Well, they mustn't have been very good because they didn't win. Mychet got 10 from each of the coaches.
Barely raised a
All
mention
the commentators gave him 10. 10, the best on ground. But
the printed press.
It took. Look, as I'm going to say this and antagonise everyone, that shows me a fucking institutional bias against Collingwood. You cannot acknowledge that they got the best on ground player.
Well, how many stories about Dugate did they write this week? Not a fucking word. Not a word.
No, if it was us, it'd be like a conspiracy. Umpires...
There's like a slip and slide commercial out there.
Umpires? What do you think they had that influence? Because I saw some people whinging against the
umpires. There was a couple of crappy decisions, but on the whole, I didn't think it was that bad. I don't remember watching the game and hammering the couch by any stretch, and apart from that moment when we won. But I don't recall being that... I think we were messaging each other, a couple of them were just, well, what about that one? Has he got no head? The push out and the square...
just to go to that push out, I would fucking love if they actually clarify this rule that if you do that in someone's back, it's in the fucking back. I mean, Darling did it to Rufford when Yo had that long 60-metre shot on the run, and it's a clear push. It doesn't have to be, that's not hands in the back or whatever. It's a clear push. That's the rule. You push him in the back, it's a free kick. But that one was like, oh no, it's fine. Now, I've seen that a lot this year, not just Collingwood games. It's like, does anyone know what the fucking rule is?
No, we've gone from completely being unable to even have your hands anywhere in the vicinity of someone's back to now you see there's quite a lot of push-outs where it's okay. I think it all came out of the back of that, the Clement
rule, Hurd,
which he used to prop and he didn't push, but he'd stop the forward from moving back. And then now suddenly we've gone from the polar opposite of that into you can just fling someone out of the way, and it may or may not be a push in the back. Whereas clearly, by definition, it is.
No, it's a push. I mean, it's ridiculous that when they had the hands in the back rule, players were doing this, and the commentators go, "Oh, that's fine because he's used his forearm. He didn't use his hands." It's like it's still a fucking push. Anyway, last thoughts.
Great to win. Darcy Moore. More of that. What are you on about?
No. So we'll be back with Media Mephitic.
Oh, this should be good.
Yep.
Do we care about what the media have done this week?
Yes.
Okay.
Welcome back to Media Mephitic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not actually going to read out the quote. I just want to say, Mick Malthouse talked about the Rat Pack at Collingwood.
Yep.
Do we bother giving Mick any airtime about how we should have played in more grand finals and blah, 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 but the succession plan ruined it?
I agree with him to a point, but at some point you've also got to move on.
It's 9 years later.
Because what are they doing? They're doing a piece this week also on Grant Thomas on sack coaches.
Yeah, I read that.
Well,
it was really interesting. It was actually really interesting.
Was it?
I like Grant Thomas because he just speaks his mind.
But these things all happened 1,000 years ago. What do we care now?
Oh, well, the Grant Thomas one, because I think you're looking at it and going, well, what actually happened there? Because they just got rid of him. They played in finals and they pissed him off. And there was no extenuating circumstances that we could see. Whereas with the Buckley Malthouse one, that's just been explored to death. So unless Malthouse comes out and says, "Oh well, Maguire and Buckley are Illuminati, and that's why I had to leave." I don't think there's much more new information they can shed on it.
He said they were sacrificing chickens under a full moon.
Really?
Yeah.
With Collingwood's aim, how would you make sure that you beheaded them?
Oh, I didn't say they were successfully sacrificed.
Prior to the Eagles game, we managed just 36, 34 and 35 inside 50s in the last 3 weeks. Which, again, we talk about like Cox and the forwards. It just shows how shit the ball was moving down. It was going slowly.
Mm-hmm. What do we get this week?
112. Fixtures since the bye. This is actually curious, I brought this up. So since the bye, we played Bulldogs away at Marvel, played North home at Marvel, played Hawthorn away at the MCG, then West Coast away at Optus, and GWS this week away at Spotless. It's like, what sort of fixtures is that? It's like, we had one home game in all that time, and it was at Marvel in 5 games. That's fucking ridiculous. Accuracy in front of goal. Before the West Coast match, I just rip off other people's stats. Jamie Elliott had our best accuracy with 12.5, 60%.
Mm-hmm.
Mason Cox, 15.8, 55.6. Probably better after last week. Josh Thomas, 12.9, 48%. Jordan Legoe, 30.15, 30 goals, 15, 46.9%. They're fucking terrible figures for, guys are getting paid millions of dollars, billions.
Just sprayed everywhere.
Especially in grand finals. Tom Phillips has re-signed for 2 years, so he'll be there until 2021.
The old flippery-dippery-do.
Obviously keen to play in another grand final loss.
Oh, are we all?
Braden Maynard has also added 2 years to his contract. He was already contracted for next year. So
that's a good one.
Yep. Brady Grundy has bucked pre-agency, which means he's not going to
go anywhere this year.
Yep. So you think he'll still stay?
I think so. I think he likes it there. I mean, what would be the pull to go back to Adelaide for him?
Get to play 30 bets.
Adelaide and Port. For 5 more minutes? Yeah. He's probably got a season left in him. Adelaide and Port are surely tapering backwards. Yeah, you can't really talk about the go-home factor when going home is bloody 45 minutes in a plane at any given time.
Oh, it depends how much family and shit they have there, and friends and...
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I reckon there's some places to look at.
I think he loves it at Collingwood. I think he'll stay. It doesn't matter. You don't have to rush these things, because he'll be mega bucks. So you have to sort of certainly wait at the end of the year to see who leaves, what sort of money we've got in the pot to retain him next year. But you've got pretty much the entire year to work on that too.
I have heard there's a really good chance, it's not quite certain, but we won't be re-signing Daniel Wells.
Surely not.
So that should open up some salary cap space. Collingwood has upped the ante along with Geelong to get Jeremy Cameron.
I haven't heard that one.
I don't know where we'd fit him in the salary cap.
You're just making shit up in here, eh?
Oh, that's what the journalists do, which is funny because we're going to go there soon. But that's actually funny when you think about it. So like, you got Moore, DeGoey and Grundy who are all going to be asking for like millions. And you're probably going to have to pay Brody Myercheck about $10 million to stop Swans pinching him. I don't know where you'd fit Jeremy Cameron in there.
I'd be happy if they could.
I'd be ecstatic if they could. Kane Corns has said Jordan Ruffhead is the best recruit of 2019.
Yeah, it's probably hard to disagree with that.
Well, he says, people will say Lockie Neal, but he goes, well, if you look at what Brisbane gave up for Lockie Neal...
but you're also getting a known quantity as well, whereas I think Ruffy was clearly on the outer at the Dogs.
Well, that's what he said. He goes, and Lockie Neal's a gun player, and he's been a gun, but given what they had to exchange, they've paid quite a bit, whereas Ruffhead was basically free. And, I didn't expect much from Ruffhead, but...
Oh, I did. He's tracking exactly as I predicted.
Brownlow?
Yep.
Collingwood did a piece about who's in the coach's box and on our boundary.
Actually, the piece should have been called "Who's Not in the Coach's Box."
So there's 26
because
people.
There was a small Guatemalan country's population in there.
26 people, between the coach's box and the boundary. That's fucking amazing. 26. We need 26 people in here.
There were 26 trombones in a big parade once.
Caroline Wilson, you told me, had a shot at Brody Myercheck for saying that...
Apparently, I don't know the full context of the story, but...
why bother with facts? They don't.
I remember at the post-match interview, he said he loves coming over to Perth, but the flight sucks. And then I read something in Twitter about Caroline Wilson had a crack at him on whatever it is, probably on the radio, because it wasn't on the footy shows tonight, because we haven't watched them yet, because we're recording as they're on, in case you needed a frame of reference. But apparently he had to go at him for... and I imagine the context of that was, well, other sides have to do it all the time. But Brody Mytek's he's got a copy of Thwack.
Low.
Sorry, I'll just clear that up. Just a bit of a congestion in the throat. Sorry.
Okay.
I was just taking the piss slide.
I've actually really been impressed the last few weeks. There's a few journalists who
What other impressions do you do?
I do Damien Barrett. No. So Damien Barrett's really had
something?
a breakout year.
What, like acne?
No, just in terms of his muckraking journalism. You know, it's like when you have a player at your club and he's played like 40 games. He's okay, but then he has that amazing year and you think he's broken out. Damien Barrett's done that this year. You know, he had the feud with Hodge. And then instead of actually just admitting he was wrong, he doubled down and goes, oh, well, what I'm saying is, I don't think it's really adding anything to the game.
Those are my words. That's not what I said.
Yeah. And it's like, well, that's bullshit because all you journalists just want further exposure. And then he fucking talks about, oh, well, all the expectation on Collingwood, we're a football club where even if you get caught on the phone driving, it's news. It's like, but you were the one who made that news. That's like a fucking James Bond plot that you cause an incident so you can report on it. So he's been really good. Other guy I've been really impressed with is Tom Brown. So Tom Brown, after Darcy Moore did his hamstring, said, Moore hamstring in the context of existing Pies injuries is basically a disaster. It'll be 4 to 6 weeks of his history. It's like, all right, well, this is the guy who diagnoses over Twitter. So I actually...
Well, he had Pendlebury's finger amputated after the...
I'm going there.
Oh, sorry. I made to jump the gun.
So, and then I thought, I'll look through his Twitter feed a little bit. Tom Brown on July 5th. Collingwood don't have the luxury of saying, we dropped out of the 8 on injuries, suspensions, but they've mounted and I'm convinced are at least contributing to the underlying form issue. So it's like, oh, that's a fair enough comment.
Yeah, uh-huh.
On July 8th, I'm big on the Pies injuries. I think they've unsettled the team balance and are now causing a confidence issue, which once it sets in becomes hard for the team to gel. A lot of guys are down on form too. It's like, well, hang on. Originally you were saying, well, you can't really say that that's going to be a reason. And now 3 days later you sort of said, well, here's a reason. So he's actually just... He's one to watch. He's a bright young talent.
If Disney made a movie about him, would there be fish involved? Finding Credibility? Would that be a good film for him?
Finding Credibility? I don't know. But you sent me this. Herald Sun. Awesome paper. If you own budgerigars and need lining. Collingwood have been front and centre of the headlines as of late. So in light of all the controversy surrounding the club, why would Dane Swan, Dane Beams and Adam Treloar throw in a raw and uncensored pub night?
All the big news stories.
Fuck, Donald Trump had toast for breakfast. Is that news?
Does anyone actually read the Herald Sun anymore? Maybe we should do a poll on what's that thing, Facebook? We should do a poll. Who reads the Herald Sun?
Okay,
and all the people that say yes, we can meet them for a drink and then hit them with rubber objects.
And of course, since we're talking about amazing journalism,
I haven't written anything.
Let's see if you can guess who said this.
Robbo.
Yes. There's just a feeling that there's some issues inside Collingwood, and he goes on to talk about how the Jaden Stevenson betting scandal might have caused a rift in the playing group.
Was it Robbo?
Yeah, it's Robbo. who also just draw... He might as well have been a spiritualist.
You should try chumming some of this shit.
He should be a spiritualist in fucking 1900, saying he's communicating with divine spirits who are feeding him information. And Jeremy Howe denied it, and, it's like, well...
Oh, geez, yeah. Tomorrow it's going to rain unless it doesn't.
Well, fuck. If there were no issues inside Collingwood, we probably would have won by 28 goals on Friday night. Anyway, that's it for Medium the Fiddick. We're back with... What?
Match preview?
Yeah, I thought you were going to say something else.
No. I just say that whatever shit you make up, apparently they believe it sells papers.
Well, it's been a good week for shit. We'll be right back.
After this shit.
We're right back.
Let's get into this. We're back on the winners rostrum.
Alright, so I didn't know this because I don't follow football. Thank you to Jack Stone, who's one of our watchers and on our Facebook page. GWS missing their 3 best players, Callum Ward, Coniglio and Kelly. I don't know about Lucky Keith, he wasn't mentioned. Pendlebury had the broken finger, which it looks like...
This one.
Again, thanks to Jack Stone for sending it on Instagram. It looks like Maynard might have did it when Pendlebury had his hand around the West Coast player, and Maynard's giving him a whack, but hit Pendlebury's finger.
It's like poetry.
It is.
The cosmic ballet continues.
All right, so about 15 years ago, you had ex-Hawthorn player, or Hawthorn player at the time, Daniel Chick.
Yep.
He kept getting dislocated, and he had it amputated. Should Pendlebury have his finger amputated?
This one?
Whichever one it is.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
So
Let's wait till next week.
He's not being selfish then.
No, if he rules himself out and he's not fit to play, therefore he's soft, and he should have his finger amputated to teach him a lesson, and then he can play with a band-aid on it.
There are advantages to him losing a finger.
What would that be?
Well, imagine...
He could whistle easier.
Well, imagine in the grand final he had the finger amputated and Domsheed kicked it and he threw the finger at the ball as it was going through. He could have said, I got my finger on it.
I was wondering where you're going to go with that. See, the best I could come up with is he could only eat 9 cheesels.
Okay. Do you think he should play? They're saying that he's a rough chance to play.
Do you think Darren Mullane said it's over when it's over?
It is over when it's over, isn't it?
Maybe we need something like, with Didac ripped his pectoral muscle off the bone and it was flopping around like a newly caught fish inside of his chest cavity, and we won a flag, and Mullane kept coming out there and breaking that thumb every week and kept pushing on. Maybe the skipper needs to motivate the crew by showing him his distorted finger as a reminder. If the chips are down, he goes, "Look at me!" And they'll go out there and play and win, and they'll do it all for the finger at the end, and he can hold it up high and say, I've got another one more flag, Robbo and Damien. See, my finger's all right. Tom Brown, both fingers are okay.
So he's on about 293 games now.
I thought you said $1,000 a match.
No, so he's about 293 games. I thought he was going to get 300. He might still get 300 depending when he comes back. Tony Shaw's got the record of 313. So Pendlebury plays next year. He surely plays next year. But you think that if he plays at the standard he's at now, he's probably still got another season or two left in him.
And then he can go play Djokovic at Wimbledon.
Oh, and last for 6 hours, yeah. So, do you think they should risk him, or is it really just reliant on that injury, how bad it is?
I don't think he'll play this week.
Well, the reserves played. Adams is really good. He only played 3 quarters. Schamberger is pretty much best on ground.
I think Schamberger comes back in. Softer ground over there at GWS, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, they play like they're dancing on marshmallows.
How is a rough chance to play? Goldsack had a good game.
There you go, Goldsack again. No, it's good to go with youth.
Well, I'd rather actually bring in some experienced bodies given how much youth's in that side.
No, we're back in finals contention now. We're premiership favourites. Why would we need Goldsack?
Because we've got no one else defensively.
Righted all the wrongs in one game.
No, we've got because as I said last week, for me, it's not about how them playing the rest of the season. It's about them playing until we get guys back. I would rather have a Goldsack in there than have 6 guys under 40 games who got young bodies. Well,
Goldsack's only just back from injury in the VFL.
I don't know. I don't follow the VFL.
I think that's going to be a likely. As much as you want it, it's not going to happen.
If Howe plays, I'll play him and Goldsack stays in reserves. If Howe isn't fit, I'd bring Goldsack in and I'd move Noble up forward because I think Noble is a better forward prospect with that pace, and he looks like he could be a genuine crummer, which we do not have.
No, I think they want him a little bit up the ground because they still see him as a line breaker.
But Varco looks like he's out for 2 weeks. All the other guys...
Varco's done his finger as well, I read today. On the
get it chopped off.
That's it. Maybe they could do a transplant between Vark's finger and Pendlebury's finger.
And then Pendlebury just get angry and bounce around bumping players.
Yeah, well, that'd be good to see him angry.
He did a beautiful tackle on Darling when Hickey took the mark and did the handball over the top. Idiots! Langdon, no one knows what the fuck's happening with Langdon.
No, it's a mystery, that one.
No, like the Roy Orbison song.
You'd feel it's probably season gone for him, surely?
Yeah.
Oh, they must be looking to manage it because they haven't sent him in under the knife.
But that's the way you do things at Collingwood. You don't send him on for surgery. Not until next season starts.
Yeah, not until next season. About round 3, you go, well, put him under the knife now.
He'll miss 9 games.
We could have done that 6 months ago and had him cherry ripe.
Yep.
But they obviously still think he's a reasonably good chance to get over it.
So I don't know who else is there in the reserves who are a chance. You think that
Magden? I know you're a big fan of Magden.
Yes, I am a big fan of Magnum, but it says he's got an ankle injury.
You just wrote that down in pencil.
No, he's right there. He's under a test.
What about Toehill? Toehill, he'd be a chance, wouldn't he?
This is one of the Hobbit characters, isn't he? Toehill, he lived in the Shire. I don't know.
Mr. Toehill.
I was going to say...
I think you finished.
Moore is injured.
Yes.
And there was someone else not there.
I saw...
Pendlebury's injured, sorry.
I saw Darcy Moore say on the news tonight that he's feeling really good. He goes, there's no pain today. He goes, I think the strain is quite minor, so that'll be 8 weeks for him.
Yeah. We just bagged Tom Brown for fucking guessing, so thanks, Tom.
Mine's an educated guess, Tom. Give it a try.
Alright, so Pendlebury...
10 weeks.
So what would you change with? Pendlebury looks like he's out and Moore's definitely out. Crocker was really terrible. It was an amazing game, I felt, to bring someone back against West Coast where there's going to be a lot of pressure. You'd think that, that's not a game to be bringing some young guy back in who hasn't played much. What would your changes be? And Adams and Scharenberg look like they're ready. Adams probably would have done with another week in the reserves if they had a full list.
I don't think so. I think they'll get him in this week.
They're getting him now, but if they had a better list.
I think Berg would be a definite in, so that covers your 2 injury outs. I would have thought Crocker would have been dropped, but I reckon Buckley will give him another crack. He got badly beaten 1-on-1 quite a few times, but at the end of the day, he's behind was a match winner, so what do we know?
Did he kick a bone?
I think, no, he was instrumental behind it. No, that snap.
Ages ago. Yeah. I think that was against Fremantle 4 years ago.
No, but he kicked it behind, didn't he? I don't know. He's a match winner.
Yeah, I think he kicked the other one. No, yeah, I mean, I think if you bring anyone in, they deserve a few weeks to try and find their footing.
This is Dacos.
I wouldn't have dropped Dacos. I thought that was really bizarre that, he was terrible against Hawthorn in the second half. I thought he was really good in the first half, but Dacos wasn't alone in being terrible. His disposal efficiency was only 40%. Crocker's was only 40% this week, so I don't know. I would have actually just brought Adams and Scharenberg and Goldsack in for Crocker, Pendlebury, and Moore, and I would have thrown Noble forward. That's the way I would have done it. The reserves are really there. There's not a lot there to take.
Winning games, though, I suppose. So there must be some sort of
They lost last week.
Did they?
Yeah.
Apart from, that's because you took the difference out.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why we have to keep the difference in right up to the grand final.
Yeah. So.
And then break it.
Yeah. But if you look at a lot of the guys they probably banked on coming through, like Tyler Brown's had an interrupted season. He's been
in the VFL, and I did hear
very classy.
It was very classy.
Yeah.
Yes, so.
Guys like Nathan Murphy, they probably would have thought they got more games out of him this year.
What about Broomy? He's had a consecutive run of it.
Yeah.
He might be a chance. He'll be a surprise inclusion.
Yeah.
You heard it here first on the rant, unless, of course, you didn't.
And GWS are limping a little bit.
Yeah,
Cadigo has a big loss.
Look, that surprised me, obviously, hugely that we won on Friday night. I thought out of that run that we're about to have, that the GWS game was the one that we're most likely to have probably won, even with our form slump. I still think that we should count for them.
Do you have any concern? I mean, my one concern, because it was such an effort-based win on Friday, that it was very reminiscent of those wins under Buckley in 15, 16, 17, where we'd beat some top 4 side and go, oh shit, yeah, we're finally clicking. And then they'd go lose to someone like Carlton the following week, who was 17. Do you have any fear that their intensity is going to just drop way off?
I'll tell you quarter time on Saturday.
I mean, I understand like football, like a lot of sports, it's an extremely physical game. I would have thought, and I reckon Buckley was probably like this as a player. You actually relish the physical contact. You relish fucking running someone's head into the ground. It's like when Elliot did that beautiful tackle in the last quarter, and he actually sort of just gave him a little shove. It's like, fucking got ya. No, you're meant to be a graceful, gracious sports person, but geez, during the contest, it's like you'd really want to
drive their head into the ground,
hurt them. I was trying to think of a diplomatic way of saying that, but I just really like to,
I must break you.
Yeah, and that's why you want that contact. You want that contest. You want to know you're the best, and you want to know, you beat the guy coming at the ball. So I was just trying to say that I would never think I would drop off, because I'd love that intensity of trying to just fucking win and taunt it over the losers and be, the most graceful sportsman afterwards and shake their hands after I've just spent 100 minutes beating the shit out of them.
No, you wouldn't.
No, yeah, I did.
You'd rip him as well after the game.
I did that once in grade 6. I just slapped his hand when he offered it. Yeah, what was your tip?
I'm glad we all know that. I reckon we'll win this by 30 points.
Yeah, I reckon we'll win this by 29 points.
Oh, you have to be controversial, don't you?
Yeah. Well, I tipped 6 points last week, so I was close.
Yeah, I was a little bit off by 68 goals.
And a loss. So that's it from us. Subscribe, share, like, listen to us on the podcast. You know it all by now. Share us. If you share this, you go in the running to win a car. Prizes will not be honoured. But you go in the running.
That's right. You can run as far as you want. Yep. You're not getting it.
Okay. So we'll see you next week, hopefully with some...
happier news.
Increasingly, progressively growing happy news.
Which means we pulverised by 70 points.
Yeah. All right, later.
I'm not sure what to make of that, Omen. He came back to us. What does that mean? We're fucked.
We're always fucked.